Hi, my name is William Kovatch and I am a lawyer. I've been a lawyer for over 20 years. And when I went into law school, as I've mentioned in other videos, I was the first in my family to go into the law business. So because of that, I had no idea what the law business was like. And having gone through this and now having 20 years of experience, looking back on it, in some ways I wish I had known a little bit more. It may have changed a little more about how I approached my law school career. And my goal in this series of videos is to address people who were like me, who may not have lawyers in their family, maybe the first person contemplating going to law school and becoming a lawyer in their family, and who may not be prepared for all the vagaries, all the ins and outs of the law business. Just to give you an insight of what the law business is like and what the expectations are like, so you can understand and plan better your law school career and your early working career in order to get the job you may be looking for. This week, what I want to talk about, what I want to focus on, how to structure your law school experience. And I'll explain all that in just a moment. My name is William Kovatch, and I've been a lawyer for over 20 years. I was the first in my family to become a lawyer, and when I went to law school, I knew nothing of the law business. Through this series of videos, I hope to give you some inside information on how the law business works, and maybe help those who may be considering law school on how to shape their career. So here's the dirty secret. The law business is very superficial. The law business expects you to go through a cookie cutter experience. You should do this, 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 and this. And if your goal, in particular, if your goal is to work for a large law firm, you have to have gone through the steps the way they want you to go through the steps, or the law firm will view you with suspicion. And if they view you with suspicion, you're less likely to get hired. Let's talk about that. Now, before you go to law school, does it matter what subject you take, what your undergraduate degree is in, what your experience is? Generally, no. Big exception, patent law. If you're going into patent law, you need a science or engineering background. Other than that, if you were an English teacher and then decided to become a lawyer, hey, that's great. Great, you got something to talk about at the cocktail parties. If you went off and joined the Peace Corps before going to law school, fantastic. That's wonderful. Again, something great to talk about at the cocktail parties. Maybe something to wow them with in the job interview. It's not really going to be something that impacts the decision on whether or not to hire you, to be quite honest. What is? The choices you make in law school. There is an expected trajectory. I didn't know any of this when I went into law school. In fact, the only reason I really started to understand it is because I made friends with a fellow who came from a family of lawyers, and he was a great guy, and he kind of took me under his wing and started teaching me more about the law business, so that I was able to make a number of the right choices at the right time to do the right things. And, I am still grateful to this day for my friend for doing this. Let me talk a little bit about that and a little bit about the choices, some of the choices I made that were unorthodox, and why that did have an impact on my job search afterwards, right? So you go into law school, your first year. It is not expected that you work during your first year. And in fact, it's expected that you don't work. To me, they build up this myth that law school is really difficult and it's stressful, and you need to be able to concentrate because you're going to learn a different way to think. To be completely honest, I didn't find that to be the case at all. I don't know, maybe it was just something different. I loved law school. I got into my first year of law school. I loved it. I loved the academic environment. I loved the people I was meeting. I could have done a job. I didn't because I followed that advice. I probably could have done a job. It wouldn't have affected me, right? I thought I was fine, right? And I did very well in my law school career in general. I did very well. So your first summer, let's say, you know, I went into law school and I had a specific career path in mind. Most people don't really come into law school with a specific career path in mind. I did. I wanted to do international law, international business, international trade law, something along those lines. So I was going to concentrate on taking the classes that were in that subject. I was going to concentrate on trying to get the experiences that would prepare me for that kind of career. So one of those experiences was going to be studying abroad. And yeah, studying abroad is a very popular thing to do when you're in law school. Here's the thing. You're expected to do your study abroad in your first summer after your first year, right? So you have first year, you do your basic courses, 2 semesters, and you get into your summer. In your summer of your first year, you're supposed to take that opportunity in order to explore, do things like study abroad. I did not. Why did I not? Because I did not come from a rich family. I did not come from a family that had a lot of means. I was trying to control my debt. So instead, I took that summer and I found a practical job. My practical job, I wound up working as a brief writer for a small workers' compensation firm. It was a wonderful experience. Loved the people at the law firm. I loved the work that I was doing, even though it was like not a sexy topic like international trade. Nonetheless, I was practicing writing. And I kept that job, at least on a part-time basis. I kept that job all throughout my law school career. In fact, I even kept it afterwards. I used to do some part-time stuff with it afterwards on a piecemeal basis in order to supplement my income, because guess what? I worked for the federal government, and as long as I wasn't doing federal law, they were okay with it. I always made sure to clear it with the ethics board, but working for the federal government, you're not making as much money. So yeah, the fact that I had a side hustle, I think they would call it now, of writing briefs in workers' compensation firms, that was okay, and that helped me supplement my income. But yeah, my first year, and I was making a decent, you know, for a law student, I was making a decent amount of money as a brief writer. So enough money that I did eventually buy my first car while I was in law school. But I didn't do that study abroad in my first summer. And that wound up being something that would penalize me, because I did want to do a study abroad, because at the time my interest was Russia and the former Soviet Union. You know, this was 1995, and it was very soon after the Second Russian Revolution, the dissolution of the Soviet Union, and I was very much interested in looking at business opportunities connected with Russia. So I looked very specifically for a study abroad program that would send me to Russia. I found one, but I went in my second year. That's where I differed from the path. The path is after your second year of law school, in your second summer, you are supposed to take a job with a law firm as a summer clerk. Now, why is that? Because as a summer clerk, the big law firms are testing you out. They're whining and dining you. They're trying to sell you on their law firm, but they're testing you out. They're trying to see, does this person have a decent enough personality to fit in our law firm culture? Because the whole expectation is, once you've chosen what law firm you're going to work for during your second summer, that is expected to be the law firm you will start with when you get out of law school, right? You know, you work for Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe in your second summer. It's expected that once you graduate law school, once you're done with the bar exam, you're going to start as an associate with Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. That's the expectation. I went a different route. I didn't do the study abroad in my first year, I did the study abroad in my second year. And I arranged it, not only so I did a study abroad, I volunteered for a company, an agency, not really a company, it was an agency that was working in Russia that was helping to finance upstart Russian businesses. Right? I took an internship, an unpaid internship with this company so I can, again, develop credentials dealing with Russia and Russian law. Okay? When I returned, you know, the long and short of that is my 2 months in Russia, I discovered I wanted nothing to do with Russia. We can talk about that in another instance, another video, but I just discovered I wanted nothing to do with Russia. So when I came home, I actually cut my work with the organization off early because I just wanted to get the hell out of Moscow. Moscow is great for a week. It is. It's great for a week. St. Petersburg's beautiful in the summer. You want to go to St. Petersburg in the summer and enjoy it for a week? By all means do. You want to go for longer than a week? You're crazy. So I was there for 2 months, cut my trip off early, came back home, and I wound up working as an assistant, a graduate assistant for one of my professors at Temple. And that was great. I loved working for him. I did research for one of his books. It was a marvelous fit. I really enjoyed it. And this is a professor who was known in Pennsylvania. So if I had chosen to work in Pennsylvania in trial advocacy, his connections would have helped. Here's the thing. I wanted to go to Washington or New York and work in international trade law. So they didn't help as much. But I didn't work for the big law firm. And that meant it was more difficult for me to get a big law firm job. Now, other things to keep in mind. When the opportunity arises, you should compete for law review. Law firms are going to look for law review. Were you on law review staff? Maybe not so much whether or not you're there for the second year and you get published, although if you do, it is a nice feather in your cap. I did make law review. I did get my article published. In fact, I got several articles published. Since I knew I was going in a direction that was unorthodox, I wound up publishing 7 articles on international law and international trade-related issues. And that was all, in my second and third year, I was writing that up and getting those out and published. I went and got a master's degree in law, an LLM in transnational law, which, again, focused on international law issues. All unorthodox steps. They were things that are not expected or are not really received well by the big law firm culture. The friend that I told you about, not only did he encourage me to go out for law review, and he encouraged me that instead of accepting a position, because there's usually your school has several different types of law reviews, you compete for all of them. Temple had a law review that focused on international issues. I competed for that as well as the main law review. I was accepted by both of them, but you only get to accept one. And my friend told me, look, you want the main law review. Yeah, it's fun to have that on your resume, but trust me, and he's right. The name brand of the main law review is more important than having the Temple Law Review on international affairs. Even if you go into a field that is dedicated to international law, they're looking for the main law review. He was also the one who encouraged me to go and look for judicial clerkships. Again, I had no idea what a clerkship was. I had no idea how this fits into your law career. A clerkship, by the way, is when you go out fresh out of law school and you work for a judge in an actual working court and you're helping the judge do their duties. Most of the time when you're going into your clerkship, you already have your law firm lined up. You've already gone in the second year, your second summer, you've already worked for your law firm. You know that's where you're going to work. They're happy to defer hiring for a year because they get to market the fact that they're hiring somebody who served as a law clerk. That's a big deal. They get to market that. You become more of an asset. So yeah, they're fine with, okay, yeah, go, take the clerkship. You're going to be more valuable to us if you take the clerkship, and you're going to have the job waiting for you when you come out. Okay? I was in a different situation because, as I said, During my clerkship, I was actually working on my master's degree at night. During my clerkship, while working on my master's degree, I was also looking for my job. So I did not have my law firm job. It made it that much difficult. Now, admittedly, it made it that much difficult because the area I wanted to go into was international trade law. And international trade law, it was dominated by small firms, not by the large firms. It's a lot harder to research those firms and to do the legwork to get yourself known by the lawyers who specialize in that. Things have changed. That's not so much the case anymore. That was very much the case in the 90s. I don't think that's the case anymore in the 2020s, but I don't work in international trade, or I did not work in international trade. I haven't worked for the last 10 years in that area. I switched to immigration law. Different story, different market, different preparation. The point simply being, there's your course. You go to law school. Your first year, you are expected to do your play. So if you want to do your summer abroad, you're supposed to do it in your first year. You're competing for law review, so that your second and your third year, you're on law review staff, right? In your second year, you do your other classes. Your second summer, you're supposed to be taking your job with the law firm. Your summer clerkship. And that's supposed to be the clerkship that's supposed to lead to your first job after you graduate. Third year, you concentrate on graduating. Your third summer, you concentrate on finishing the bar exam and studying for the bar exam. They tell you don't work, just concentrate on the bar exam. You do that. Somewhere between your second and your third year, that's when you do your applications for your clerkships, so that if you want to take a clerkship or you press, you get your clerkship right after your third year. And then if you have your clerkship, you start your career with the big law firm right after that. Or if you don't get a clerkship, you start with your career at the big firm, the one that you started with in your second summer. That's your first permanent job after you graduate. Thank you so much for watching. We'll address more questions about the law business, how it operates, and what you should know before you go into law school in future videos. And if you like this, please subscribe, give us a like, and thank you again. I really appreciate your viewership. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. If there are any topics you would like me to address in the future, please let me know in the comments below. Now, I don't like talking about this, but I am currently disabled because of complications following cancer surgery. If you're feeling generous, I'll have a link to my PayPal account in the description below. Thank you.